Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm a sewing specialist here at Fons & Porter. In this Quilting Quickly tutorial, I'm going to show you how to put together the blocks for the quilt called Aberdeen. If you'd like to purchase this pattern, please visit our website. You can see Aberdeen on the wall behind me. It's a very vibrant quilt. We're using 10-inch pre-cut squares in bright colors here. And then we're adding that white just to tone it a little bit so that we can see the definition in our piecing. So with those 10-inch squares, we're going to create blocks that look like this. A very simple piecing, a great way to practice your quarter-inch seaming, your pressing techniques, maybe a project that you want to do as a team project, maybe with a new quilter. We're going to be using those 10-inch blocks, and I've got a collection of them here. I'm stacking some of them up. You can cut one at a time until you're comfortable in the cutting, and then you can stack up blocks and do the same technique that I'm doing. In the directions, it tells you from the 10-inch square to cut a 2-inch strip, a 4-inch strip, and a 4. So it's simple then to go down through the stack and cut a large group of them together. Just make sure that you line up all the blocks so that everything is square. And you can then come in and cut a 2-inch strip. And then, of course, that means that you have 8 inches left. So if you cut that in half, would create 2 4-inch strips, just like that. The nice part about this is then, once you get done cutting all of your pieces, kind of keep them in groups like this. What I'm going to do is kind of simulate where we're going with the block. The 2 wide strips, top and bottom, this one in the center. Because once you've cut all of the required pieces, you can simply scramble them up, if you like to do random, by taking the top one off, placing it at the bottom, and you would have them already scrambled. Some people like to be more intentional and go through and pair them up. This is one way if you haven't done random, this will force you to be random. So as you go down through, then you would have 2 different fabrics in each block. Now, if I were working on this in my sewing center, I would set this aside and have all these ready to go so that I can then put those in my block. What I need, though, is those white strips that kind of calm down the fabrics instead of joining them right up next to each other. Kind of gives a definition through the center. And what we have you do in the instructions is to cut a 10-inch strip and then from that cut 1-inch wide bars. Some people will say, why not cut a 1-inch strip and then subcut it? But if you try to cut a 1-inch strip all the way across the fabric, it's very hard to keep it straight. So if you cut the 10-inch strip like this first, and then come in and cut off the 1-inch bars, your accuracy and the cutting is a little bit easier. It's easier to just go across that 10-inch piece. So then you would be cutting the desired pieces like this from your 10-inch strip. Once you have those all done and you have a nice stack of those, you can go to the sewing machine, and just for time's sake, what I would do is I would take out this center piece and I would join a 1-inch strip to both sides. I guess we just need one layer here, is to add that 1-inch strip to the side of all of the 2-inch wide bars, because then all of that part is complete. I would take them to the ironing board, make sure you're pressing your seam allowances, and in this case it wouldn't matter if you go toward the white or toward the center bar, but if I had all that pressing then done and those all joined, then I could easily come in and then join the outer 2 rectangles and quickly have all of my pieces put together. Once you have completed that, and make sure that you take the time to press. You want to make sure that your block is nice and flat. It makes putting the rows together later a lot more enjoyable if your seams aren't going back and forth, and it lays flat for your quilter when you're finished. Now, you're going to create all of the blocks that the pattern requires for this, and you're going to take a few of them and you're going to go according to our diagrams. It tells you that you take 4 of them and you cut a diagonal across the block like this. Some of them you cut one direction, some you cut another. Go by the number. I believe it's 4 go one angle, 3 go another. The reason for that is they become part of the border. And you can see that you'll need different positions. At first you think, well, I can cut all of them the same direction, but it doesn't work if you're trying to put in the angle, because it creates a weave through the quilt, because it's put on point, we call, when there's diagonal rows are put together. So that center piece has to be going a certain direction. So follow the instructions really closely for that. The last thing you need is the outside 4 corners. And for that, you're going to take one block and you're going to cut it diagonally in both directions. And yes, you're going to have a lot of bias edges here, but you can be very careful with your blocks. And those create the outside 4 corners of Aberdeen. If you'd like to see more of our Quilting Quickly tutorials, please visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.